Slow, can you also put the reminder into Meshery channel for other folks to know?
Yeah.
So I think we are good to start now. So I welcome you all to Meshery's weekly dev meeting. On this meeting, we talk about all the issues and PRs that were in the previous week. Also, future roadmap and what all other features are into pipeline or are already implemented. So if any one of you happens to have any agenda items that you want to talk about today, make sure that you have them listed in this docs that I'll be putting in chat. Also, don't forget to mark your attendance right here in the doc itself, so you can write your name in the attendees. So before we start, let me quickly introduce Meshery. So Meshery is CNCF's 10th fastest growing project and offers a visual way of designing, deploying, and managing your computer infrastructure, freeing you from the chains of YAML. So just in case if you want to learn more about Meshery and what impact it is having in CNCF and cloud native space, head on to the Meshery docs and you will find the link in chat. 1 second. Yes, so also before we get started with the topics and we start covering what all were the changes that were implemented by contributors, let us quickly take introductions of those who are newcomer to the call. So if you are joining this live call for the very first time, you can unmute yourself and give your intro so you can quickly talk about the tech stack that you're most present with or where are you calling from. So let me quickly take a look at the participants. So Denison, like, is it the first time that you're joining the diff call? If yes, do you mind giving your intro? So it's Lenson, I guess. It's how your name is pronounced. So if you don't have any mic or audio issues, can you please introduce yourself? Okay, so just a quick heads up, if you do have any audio issues, you also can introduce in the chat. So let's keep going ahead. And then we have LAKS on the call. So do you mind maybe writing your real name to the Zoom's participant list and also introducing yourself? Apart from these folks, I don't think we have anyone new on the call, but if we do, know that you can unmute yourself and give your intro. So let's wait for 10 to 15 seconds.
Hello everyone, am I audible?
Yep, you are. Yes, ma'am.
Hello everyone, my name is Sridhar. I am from my pre-final year, NIT Rourkela. I'm really intrigued about how Meshery works and the cloud native technologies that it uses. Recently I started with Kubernetes and Golang to learn about them, and I found out about this amazing project, Meshery. So I started open source contributions on it and stuff like around that. So that's fine, I guess. Thank you.
Thank you for your introduction and also like joining the call. So have you already, taken any assignments or are you still looking for one?
I haven't taken any uh, issues to that are assigned to me yet. I'm open to that. Basically, I was finding out how Meshery works before that. So That's why.
Great. So hopefully you will have one before you get off the call. So once again, thank you for your introduction, Sridhar.
Yeah, sure.
All right, so then let's keep rolling, and we'll be covering the items from the topics. But before that, let me once again request you all to not forget your marking your attendance. So the docs that you see on your screen is in chat once again. So first item is about some legal work that is needed to be done, and basically is about adding the trademarks in the footer of the project site. So, Lee, do you mind covering this item? Do we have Lee on board?
Yeah, you guys don't need me to comment on it really. There's a call for. I'll click, open it up and explore it, see if you guys can figure it out.
So we are essentially missing this in our footer. So I'll quickly go to our sites.
Yeah, you don't need to go that far. It's fine. It's just a footer. It's just an update in the footer. What is needed is that on the rest of that CLO monitor, there are any number of other failed checks. They more or less all need to be addressed. And so this is a call for volunteers. Some of you are here to contribute code. Some of you are here to use the tools. Some of you are here to just hang out and learn. There's all kinds of reasons why people are here. Some of the ways in which folks contribute is by hosting meetings. Other ways in which they contribute is by helping ensure that these turn green. So there's a lot of them. If you're interested, please have a look. You may very well be able to fix them or help fix them. So, yep.
Yeah, so if anyone wants to work on it, I put the link in chat. So let's wait for 5 to 10 seconds if we have any takers for this particular item. All right, so if anyone of you are interested, you can sound off in Slack. So we'll take it from there. All right, so the next item is from Krish, and Krish is on the call. So Krish, do you mind about
Yeah,
submission of
the
this?
status of these. So first, is this resubmission of the issue for moving Meshery to incubation. So I'm looking at that right now. Should have that at least an initial version of that created in the next whatever hour maybe. And then I'll send a link around to make sure anything I'm missing can get added to that ticket. Other than that, yeah, I've been running through the process for exporting designs from MeshMap and then like extracting them and pushing those into Artifact Hub repositories. So still have one data format issue there, but we're already talking about it. So I think we'll have a fix for that shortly, and then I'll just continue on that documentation and get the documentation as well as a blog post about all that ready to go. And then the last bit is just working on the Rego linting. So Uzair sent me some direction on kind of a good place to move on to start on the updating those policies. So I feel good about that, and I will just continue working through those until we get through all of them. So yeah, nothing's blocking me right now. I'm pretty much just good to go.
Thank you, Krish. So do we have any comments or any other thoughts on this update? Once again, thank you, Krish. So next up, we have this blog about milestone, and that is basically Meshery crossing 5,000 GitHub stars. So if you want to know more about it, how did we reach there? So you can take a look at this blog. The link is in chat. Then we have one item from Jerens. So do we have Jerens on? Yep, we do. So do you mind discussing this update?
Okay, let me introduce myself first. Sorry about us because I have like issue and to close some of development tasks. So I am Jerens. I'm currently looking to contributing in this community. Yeah, this is my first PR about fixing the checkbox identification, which is not working, and the counting as well. So
Yeah, so welcome on the call, Jaren. So we're gonna start, by sharing your screen and talking about the changes that you have done.
okay. First.
Also, if you're just not ready yet, we can circle back to you later. So you can sound off when you are ready. So
Okay, can you just keep me for now?
yeah, sure. So please do sound off in chat. So then we'll come back to you. Thank you, Jaren. So then we have Rahul's item. So I'll quickly take a look if we have Rahul on the call. Looks we don't. So we'll skip this item. Next item is from Shubh, and looks we are missing Shubh too on the call. So Aspersh, would you mind reminding these folks if they join, then we'll be covering that item.
Yes, sure. I'll drop a message.
Then there is a docs item from Ankita. So I'll quickly take a look if we have Ankita on the yeah, we do. So Ankita, do you mind covering this item?
Sure. Hi there, everyone. A good morning, good evening, and good afternoon from whichever part of the world you hail from. And I'll quickly share my screen. Just need a quick confirmation if it's visible.
Yeah, it is. Please go ahead.
Perfect. Thank you so much. So I've been working on adding generic legends on the Meshery documentation, and I made a draft PR for the same. So the requirement from my end was to add all these node types to the documentation, and also any other icon or shape that's missing in the node type should be present up here. So it's locally running. Y'all could also check out the deployed version of the same. I'll put that in the chat in a bit. But if you take a look at the components that we have, we prior to this had components up till cylinder. I've added up the rest of the components that were in list that were remaining. Here, there were two more requirements. We needed to add the description and the common use cases for each of these shapes that we have here. So I've created an Excel sheet for this, and anyone and everyone who has worked with these shapes on MeshMap could probably review the same and let me know any changes that are required. So I'll share the link here. The Excel sheet is also put up here, so you could take a look and probably give your feedbacks. And I guess, oh, just a moment, please. I'll have to change this. And yes, now you should have the access to this. And there were two things that I wanted to discuss regarding this. We have, if you take a look at the mesh map and you click on the shapes that we have, it says we have 73 shapes here. But if you count them down, there are hardly 36 of them. So I'm not sure if it's an issue on my end or it's a technical glitch, or we probably have to fix this. But if anyone could quickly confirm if there are 73 items and which are the remaining shapes that I've missed, it would be great. The second thing would be if you take a look. Yeah.
Before we
Regarding
forget,
that, I don't think like any shapes are missing. It's just maybe the deduplication that happens is that count with duplicated components. That's why it's saying 73. But I think these are mostly all of the shapes.
Great then. The other thing would be that on Figma, if we take a look at all the generic elements or shapes that we have, we still have a lot more enlisted here compared to the ones that are available on this GitHub action endpoint that we have. So if we take a look, there are a couple of them that are missing here. So I'm not sure how do I go ahead and add those. Should I directly download the SVG or should I wait for someone from the team to update it up here? I do have a list, so if you want, I could share the list of the icons that are missing or the shapes that are missing.
Yeah, actually, like this should be just like every component gets sourced from here. I don't know, like why we're missing from here.
So,
Can you confirm
do we-
like which ones are missing?
Sure. So the secret in the volume, which is the shield and cylinder looking structure, they are missing. This thing that's known as unknown, this is no, this is there. This is up there, but these two are missing for sure. The volume and this
Yeah,
secret
like
kind of.
these are actually not specifically like ships. These are like generic components that we'll use like for volumes and services. So these are not like exactly the shape components. So that's why they are not there. And the unknown one is just, and I think octagon. So that should be
Yeah,
like
it's there. It's there.
Mhm.
So what do you suggest I go ahead and do for the same? Should I just keep the existing shield and cylinder that was up there? Or simply to match the styling, I should change the styling and have both of them there, or completely remove them from this generic list?
No, I think like you should keep them because I use it in that like meaning for like cylinder is mostly used for volumes and mounts. So I think you should keep these.
Got that. The other thing would be we have a config map symbol here or a shape here, and we also have a tag and a rounded tag. So this round tag that we have, it's pretty similar to config map that was added earlier. Should I remove the conflicting config
Yeah,
map?
like
Or...
the config map is wrong there. So you should remove them.
Perfect. Thank you so much for the confirmation. The last question would be, we have a polygon up here. And if we take a look at this node types, we have a plus sort of a polygon here. So I am not sure which of the two should I keep up in the documentation. We have this and this.
So
both.
like the polygon is actually like any generic polygon. So apart from this, so that's why it's shown like a plus there, and you have a Meshery logo here. So you can like specify like maybe that plus or some other polygon shape, and like in the description write like this is for like generic any polygon to confirm, like because that's not like a specific shape, it's just for any other generic shape.
Got it. Thank you so much. And the last thing definitely would be if someone could take the trouble of going through all these 36 icons and shapes and give a review and feedback if they are perfectly working, or if this works, then I'll map the same in a tabular structure and we should be done with the generic legends. The second issue, if nobody has any comments on this, I could go ahead with that.
I do. I think some other people might as well. First of all, this is great. Nikita, you're moving along briskly, and this is very much needed. I wonder, part of the point that you might have just made is that, well, there are discrepancies, was likely your biggest point, I think, in each of the issues that you raised. Like there's 70, a count of 73. I'm only seeing about half of that. The way that components and these shapes, which are components, get registered in that environment, or when Meshery server boots, particularly in a long-running environment like the playground, it might be the case that the same components have been registered multiple times. So there's like 2 circles, 2 cylinders, 2 shields. We should address that, but that at least sort of explains why we're seeing the discrepancy. The grayish colored shapes here were documented a little while ago or some time ago by another contributor, actually by another intern. She did a wonderful job on all kinds of things. One of those was documentation, but we had never really put a lot of oomph behind this effort, so it's good that you are. Yeah, if we're able to, your work will help clarify that there are precisely 36 or precisely 40, or like, and so yeah, the discrepancies that the list that you have, I'm sure when you're done presenting, you'll drop a link to this sheet, which if it's in the community drive, then everyone will be able to readily comment. And even if you've shared it publicly so that anyone can comment, in order for us to invest any time into it, you got to move it to the community drive. If you get hit by a bus tomorrow or win $1 million or whatever, like we gotta, and we also need to make sure that it doesn't get deleted. which occasionally happens, and happens to the best of us. I'm totally and particularly interested in the write-ups that you have. If you share that sheet for a moment, just as a way of helping everyone else on the call be aware of the call to action that you're offering, which is really, well, I think, pretty intriguing. There's a bit of HCI here, or human computer interaction, like philosophy. It's not even necessarily human computer, it's just human visualization. If in my country, if you see a sign on the roadway that is octagonal in shape, it can only mean one thing: stop. It means stop. If you see it and it's red and octagonal, it really means stop. If it says stop on it, like that's the one, there's only one. That shape, octagonal or octagon, means stop. It's a symbol. It's the only one that we use for that. Now, we use triangles for warning signs and diamond shapes for warning signs and other things, but they can mean many things, those warning signs. What those shapes do mean when we're on the road is, like, if you see a triangle, it means, or a diamond for sure, it means warning. It's often yellow. So, okay, there's a color association and a shape association. Now, that diamond shaped yellow warning sign could mean children typically cross right here, could mean there's construction up ahead, could mean a bunch of things. And so, yeah, in the same way, what I wanted to do is encourage everyone here to reflect for a moment, especially after Ankita, she'll probably send out a note in Slack or in the chat with a link, and sort of inviting all of you to participate with her as she goes to identify things like any preconceived affiliations that you all might have with something like the shield or the star. If you were ever a student in school and you did well on your paper, your teacher might have given you a shield right at the top. Wait. No. Your teacher might have given you a star right at the top of your paper. Would you expect to see a shield or a star on your paper? If you're from the US, you'd expect to see a star. If you did really crappy, you might expect to see an X. These things have, meaning has been imbued depending upon your life experiences, and so everybody here has an opportunity to engage and sort of reflect upon whether you consider that a right rhomboid has any meaning to you, or that green versus blue has any meaning, or that filled shape versus a non-filled shape, or a dotted line versus a dashed line. What are these things? What are we communicating? What? So therein lie an opportunity for everyone. And sometimes you'll be looking at, like, the cut rectangle, and you're either thinking an expensive diamond, or you're thinking, I don't know, it doesn't mean nothing. It's like, okay, well, that's an opportunity for us to define what we intend for that to mean within this space. Yeah, this is great.
So I did share the Excel sheet link up in the chat, and I'll make sure it's there on Slack as well. Would really encourage anyone and everyone on this call, but if they happen to have time, it would be really wonderful if you could give your thoughts and feedback on the same. It'll help me improve this. Any other feedback or thoughts anyone might have? I'd wait for like 4 to 5 seconds and then probably hop on to the next item.
Yeah, I have one. This will teach you to ask that question, I think. I'm just kidding. That's a great question. Thanks for inviting everyone to comment. If you have a comment, please just unmute and interrupt. My last comment was, yeah, I think we'll have a lightning talk. The project will have a lightning talk at KubeCon in North America. And actually, the title of the talk is this. It's like visualizing Kubernetes relationships or cloud native infrastructure relationships. And the thought process behind that, and what these different visualizations mean. So, participate so you can give talks if that's something that you want to do. And yeah, you definitely should. I encourage you to. But come and participate, give some feedback. Your next item is
Yeah, sure. Thank you so much for putting me back on track. I was waiting for anyone to suggest something. So the next item that I was working or wanted to share was something that I shared in the past week. It was about having a tag, a version tag on the catalog card that we have. So I did have a feedback from Sudhanshu that I should change the color palette. And then I do have another feedback a couple of minutes ago, so I think I'll work on the same. It was this what it looks like right now. I had to remove the colon and the spacing and just have a small V and change the positioning and the color scheme. So that's something that I did here, and that's all that I wanted to demonstrate. I guess I'll stop sharing. I don't think we have any more comments. So thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Ankita, for your updates. Let's start sharing this. So next couple of items are from Yash. So Yash, do you mind sharing them?
Sure. Just a second. Great. So actually, there was an issue with local provider that workspace page and with workspace connection and environment, because the construct for them was not implemented. So my update is regarding like the implementation of workspace construct and environment and connection are done. If you are new for local provider, like Meshery supports providers, and one of provider is local provider and one is remote provider. Remote providers connects you with the cloud, and local provider saves anything, the action that you perform in your local system. It's kind of, you can take example like of a guest user. So workspace and environment was not working for a local provider. So these PRs make sure that it is fixed. Yeah, so my update was on these. If there is any question if there is any question.
API docs updated as well.
Yeah, API docs are like already updated. Like the implementation was not done. So these are more related to DB operations. So
Yeah.
API docs are updated.
Out of curiosity, we don't happen to have a list of API endpoints that are, and I think I know the answer to my question. I think we do. API endpoints that the local provider supports. And I guess actually that's sort of a silly question.
All of the API, yeah, not a different one, but all the APIs that for workspace environment connection, yes, local provider supports them, but not a different documentation for local provider.
Great. Yep. It was a silly question. I don't know if everyone heard it, but my question was, so when you go to sign into Meshery, it asks, oh, I'm sorry, when you deploy Meshery and you pull up the UI, or if you pull up the CLI client, with the CLI client, you can do a couple of things with your Meshery server, not a lot, up until the point that you need to authenticate. You can do a couple of things unauthenticated, and it's the same for the UI. You can do a couple of things against the REST API, unauthenticated. Largely, though, if you want to do something meaningful, which is like manage your infrastructure, well, in order to help protect your infrastructure and make Meshery deployments, somewhat secure by default, Meshery server requires that you're an authenticated user. So you got to sign in. And when you sign in, you choose an identity provider So if you've ever used Meshery's UI and you have looked at this screen, you sort of choose between the available providers. One of the providers that's perpetually available, by the way, this list is dynamic to the extent that, like, if that Meshery provider was offline and you start your Meshery server, you wouldn't see the option. So Meshery server reaches out to see if things are available. The none, though, that's the local provider. That's essentially saying that you're choosing not to have a user account, and that's fine. And so Meshery, that local provider has a certain set of built-in capabilities, and that's what Joshua is working to make sure that all of those built-in capabilities are complete. And if you want to know what that list is, this is why my question was a little bit silly, was if you want to know what the list of capabilities that the local provider has, the none provider, that page that he had up a second ago, the REST API reference that's published, all of those resources are resources that the local provider offers. Shub Garg, to your question in Zoom chat, I don't know how else I could have explained it. But ask a different question maybe. Anyway, Josh, it's good. It's good. Sounds like we're all tied. We're all trued up.
Yeah, mostly we are done only for, there is one or two issues left for connection. So I will make sure that they are also fixed. After that, yeah, we will be completely done.
Thank you, Yash, for your updates. So, assuming no one has no comments, let's move ahead. And so next item is from Nitish about Meshery CTL. So Nitish, do you mind sharing your screen and presenting your item?
Yeah. So right now in Meshery CTL, we have Meshery CTL registry generate command, which actually takes the Google spreadsheet, Meshery integration spreadsheet, is basically that's it. Yeah. This one, and then like it generates model based on this. But we don't really have the support for generating a single model based on the name. So this PR basically enables that feature. So there's been a little mix up between me and Slot, and like there's a duplication. Like we have two PRs doing the same thing, but we'll communicate with each other and we'll make sure that there's only one. Yeah. So I don't think there's much to discuss over here. It's plain simple. Like you basically add. I've basically added a flag to the command that takes in the name of the model that you want to generate, and yeah, it generates the model based on that. And like the code's been written in such a way that like, you also have support for adding filtering based on other properties as well, properties of the model as well. So, yep. Any comments?
Yeah, Nitish, yeah, one thing, so whenever we are generating the models, it also updates the component sheet. So have you
Yeah,
taken that into account that we only generate component for that specific
yes.
model?
Yeah, that's been taken into consideration. Yes.
Okay.
Although I haven't pushed that, but yeah, that's been taken into consideration.
Yeah, because I couldn't see the code.
Yeah,
But
I'll
you
push
don't-
that. Like it's.
But no, you don't need to push it though, right? Because you guys are going to consolidate into one PR.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, one difference between this one and the other PR is that like here we don't. So I've also added a comment here. Like here, I actually like we are parsing the whole sheet and then like we are filtering based on the name of the model. But I thought like we would when we are parsing itself, we'll actually only get the uh, model based on we won't go through the whole document. And we'll just stop when we find the model with that name. Yeah. Okay. Let's have that discussion later. But
Yeah.
yes.
Thank you for your updates, Nitish. Let's go to the next item. And that is from Cynthia on UI. So I will quickly take a look if we do. So do you mind sharing your work, Cynthia?
Yeah, sure. Well, currently we do have some class components, and for now I have successfully migrated the extension page and the connection page from class to functional component without affecting in the lifecycle methods. And I ensured that the migration made in the components lifecycle methods and things. I will share the demo also. It doesn't affect any other pages as well. Vishal, am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Yeah. That's all from my side. Any comments or any suggestions to improve?
So let's wait for 10 seconds if there's any comment.
I think we already added the playwright test for connection page. So have you ensured that the tests are passing for this connection page? Because previously when we started to migrate the functional components, we faced issues and like things started to break. So have we ensured that the test passes, or have you added new tests to verify the functionality?
No, I haven't tested the E2E. Maybe I'll check. For now, we do have only connection page 80 only. We do actually we need to write some E2E tests as well.
Okay, so as you are migrating, you can also like write some tests for this particular page so that we are covered.
Yeah, sure. I will write the test as parallel.
Thank you for your update, Cynthia. Next item is from Anish, once again on UI. So let's check if we have Anish on phone. Yep, we do.
Hello everyone. Am I audible?
Yep, you are. Please go ahead.
Yeah. So my code, I haven't pushed it yet, so you guys cannot see it. So can I like share my screen and show that instead?
Yep.
Okay. Can you guys see the screen?
Not yet.
Just a sec.
Yep, we can now.
Okay. So you guys see the code, right?
Yes.
Okay. So the problem is I wrapped it with use system, and
We can't really, I take it back. We can't really see the code. Can you blow it up a bit?
Okay, just a sec.
Control plus plus, command plus plus. Real quick.
Now?
No.
Okay, I'll reshare this again, just a sec.
No, that's not the problem. It's yeah, now you're zooming out. If you can zoom in.
Zoom in, got it. Now? Oh, this is like too much.
Oh boy. Anyway, what's the issue about?
So the theme isn't recognizing the light or dark, the use system. Even if I wrapped it inside use system and using the use theme from use system, it wasn't recognizing if the theme is light or dark. Even if the theme is dark, it's saying the theme is light. So that I could not add the colors depending upon the theme color flag. That was it.
Like, please clarify, like if you are using assistant component, then it only matters to use assistant, because it's only for the components that come from assistant.
Okay, so here I shouldn't do this thing.
Like you shouldn't be doing this, but then you are overriding mostly the theme. Like the variants come directly from the theme. Maybe only thing that might be needed is to add the token inside the theme that we have in Meshery, like in the theme.js, or check like if that token has a dark variant that might be missing.
Okay, so here I'm like console logging the current theme, right? Like it should recognize if the theme is dark, it should recognize it is dark, right? But it's saying it is light. That's a problem actually.
Like you don't have to pass theme or palette document, like you system already take care of that if you change the theme. So if you want to check the theme, pass the view system.
Okay, so we don't set that conditionally, right? So it'll automatically set it.
Yeah.
So if
Just
I
check
wanna
the documentation, have you check the Meshery docs?
Yeah, I checked it actually, but the thing is I couldn't like get a picture on this. If it changes automatically, how does it know that the input has to change and that specific theme is there? Like this input, how does it know like to change to that particular theme color when it's dark or light?
Yeah, so like the use assistant, it uses a theme provider that has an initial now. If you check that component inside the use assistant, you will see that how it does. So there is a prompt passed coordination here. So inside it already take that.
Yeah, here, right?
So if you can, raise a PR so that the maintainers can review it and can quickly, fix the issue.
Okay. I'll just push it, then we can review it. Yeah.
Thank you, Anis. So
Sure. Thank you.
I'll start sharing my screen once again, and then we have another item from Slope. So Slope, any next?
Means it was the same item that we were discussing before the Nitish Bhaiya's item. It was the same. So, and I have the yeah.
Apologies. I just from the dish and Shlok, hopefully you guys have got many other things to share outside of that.
Yeah. So regarding the model import, it should be landing tonight. Complete model import. TUI button, CLI, and the proper logs and proper event. Was working on it since morning. So yeah.
Do you have like any recent draft that you can share and quickly gather feedback so that
Yeah, I can show the recent image. One sec. Yeah, so still working on this, but if you run the Meshery CTL command, so now it shows the state actions. I could zoom in. Yeah. So this is the way we are showing it on this in the CLI, and the import button is also done. Only the logs regarding the UI needs to be updated.
Thank you, Slope.
Any questions, anyone?
What we do. So then we have another item from Maverick on once again Mr. CTL. So do we have?
Can you hear me?
Yep, please go ahead.
Yep. Yes, nothing to really share. I just started to work on it. So I have that pull request is open. Basically, what I'm doing is to rename the Meshery CTL mesh command to Meshery adapter. So I just do the rename for that command, and I'm going to update the documentation. I was just wondering if in this case, since it's look like a breaking change, is there anything else to do than update the command name and the documentation? Or I can
Yeah, I
just
think
do that.
that should wait because I don't think we have any Meshery test for this particular command. But if possible, but it would be nice if you can add it so that we are sure that this command functions as we want to. And
It looked like there were some tests inside the Meshery TL itself because I saw some files related to test. But yeah, I will take a look.
For this particular command, you can take a look.
One other place to have a quick look, Matthew, is in the workflows. Some of the
workflows. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I just take note of that.
Nice. Yeah, good.
Good.
Yeah, one thing that's wonderful. One thing, by the way, on the workflows that's very helpful to the project is that, like other projects in a workflow, we will take the latest code or the code that's in that pull request and check it out, build it, and then run it through a variety of tests. And while we're doing that, we try to use as much of Meshery as we can. And I don't know how to say that concisely without explaining it a lot more, but something that isn't always obvious to folks like Nitish is that there are many workflows that are in different repos, adapter repos. So there's the Meshery repo, so to speak, that is where most of the action is at. But there's still, for those adapter repos in particular, they will compile and run integration tests with each PR. And the way that we initialize Meshery in some of those workflows is to use Meshery CTL as a quick way of interacting with Meshery. So that command might be there.
Okay. Nothing more on my hand.
Thank you, Matthew, for your updates. Next up, is that your item?
Yeah, sure. We have been started the effort of completely changing how the resources that Meshery server interacts with, like the models of components and relationships and its capabilities and everything. So we were on alpha 1 version of alpha 2 version of it, and later we migrated to beta 1. But again, we are now finalizing how the models and relationships looks like. So in this particular schemas repository, we have updated and released the different versions of the schemas, and there has been introduction of new capability by Lee and Abid. So this capability meaning for a particular component or model or relationship, what additional actions or what additional things that this particular component can or this particular entity can perform. So you can take a look at what are the new changes and does that affect your area. So Shlok, regarding this thing, I think I need your help updating the Meshery CTL component model and relationship commands to reflect these changes. So I've shared my branch link. You can contribute on the push your comments on that same branch. And on the following lines that since we are being defining the schemas and everything, so we are also focusing on doing the schema driven development. So there have been some tooling added so that it is easier for contributors to just regenerate the Golang code or client side code like JavaScript or TypeScript types. So there will be a few automations also included and particular to it so that it is easier for new contributors to get up and going. So I'm working on this particular documentation wherein I've captured what is the procedure to do the schema driven development for the server or Golang side, and also what are the best practices that you can follow and what is the most common approach or most common options in the tools that we use needs to be used, or how we can better utilize the tools that we have or the tooling that we have created, and if there are any caveats or prerequisites or post requisites, and capturing inside this particular documentation. So once this gets finalized, yeah, it will be available for all, and you can start utilizing the construct inside the schemas repository. So we will be also adding I also have a kind of like validation middleware. So for example, right now the requests are not validated. We are just assuming that okay, these are these to the schema. So quickly a few days from now, there will be a new validation middleware which will like intercept every request and try to validate against on the schema. So we can slowly migrate few of those Meshery server APIs. You can start from pattern or connections. Like each one of you can take some set of APIs, a bunch of APIs, and ensure that okay, these are under the new validation middleware. So yeah, I will also add like how to migrate those APIs to use the validation middleware. I will capture inside the same docs, and then you can, and if you're interested, you can tag me, and I will ensure like you are supported. So yeah, any questions on, or if you have any queries around like okay, how to do this stuff, or what does what does this mean? Feel free to ask.
Yeah, one question. Hussein. So, how are we moving forward regarding the model component generator? So, should we use a new sheet, or we should use columns?
I think new sheet is like ideal because we have a plan of like making the capabilities as first class. So and also like capabilities can be shared between like models and components and everything. So we can have a separate sheet for capabilities, and models and components can just refer to this particular capability. And at the time of model generation, I think we already have support for like referencing one sheet from another sheet. So we can utilize that logic, and at the time of model generation and updation, we can refer that way.
Okay.
Unless Lee or other has any other thoughts.
Yeah, when you say sheet, you mean another like tab inside the same overall spreadsheet?
Yeah.
No. Actually, by sheet I mean completely. We have model sheet, component sheet, and such sheets. So, like the addition of a new capability sheet, so that it has every column, like whatever the properties of capabilities are that represent.
Yeah, good. I'm with you. By the way, is my voice has my voice been low? If I yell, does it get any better? Or does it just sound like I'm a cranky person?
No,
It's a little low than usual.
All right. You
Link in
have to
chat.
you guys will have to excuse the gamer microphone. This is my son, one of my son's rooms, so he's got the cool equipment. Hopefully this helps. Now I'm just like right inside of your ear. Good. Let's take a moment and sit inside of a spreadsheet. It's the most exciting thing. By the way, the spreadsheets are going to be around for a long time. They've been here a long time. They're going to be around a long time. They're part of the Meshery development process, at least right now. And so this particular sheet, there's a few sheets that we have, some that might have been deleted recently, but this particular sheet is super important to Meshery as a project. It captures, well, like it captures the characterization of all of the infrastructure that Meshery can manage. Excuse me. And in a lot of detail. And so because there's so many of these things, having individual if we weren't using a spreadsheet, it would be perhaps more difficult to maintain these compatibilities, these integrations. Using a spreadsheet comes with its own challenges. There's a lot of data in here. The spreadsheet itself sort of, in large part, originated from the CNCF landscape. And because Meshery intends to and does support nearly every project that's within the CNCF, some projects would be inappropriate for Meshery to try to manage. Very few of them. Meshery also expands well beyond what's inside the CNCF landscape. So it manages GCP and AWS services, hopefully Azure services at some point. In fact, there's one of the sheets inside of this spreadsheet, if we can use those terms. I think that they're a little confusing. I don't know what other terms to use though. The tabs at the bottom of the screen, if we refer to those as individual sheets, great. And this is one spreadsheet itself. So one of the sheets down here, it's the one that's on the very left right now. It says models analysis. It's it's terribly formatted, super quick, just sort of aggregation of some stats. And it used to be sorted earlier with the largest models to the smallest models in terms of number of components. The two largest models are AWS and GCP. There's just so many services that those clouds offer that Meshery represents. So I'm getting distracted with the Zoom chat. Very important spreadsheet. Everybody here has access to it. If you don't have access to it, just fill in your community member form and you'll have access to it. It's called Meshery Integrations. It's in the community drive. Maintainers have the ability to edit it, and that's quite the liability. Actually, it's pretty easy to, very powerful and quick to make sweeping changes, which is why we're using it. Also, you know, in a lot of respects, an unwanted liability for those that can change it. That doesn't mean that all of you can't go comment on individual cells. You can, please do. There are a number of discrepancies like those that Ankita was pointing out when she was using the phrase for the same that she just never, ever, ever has to use. And that's my point, Ankita. It's redundant. You don't have to say it. And it'll spare my sanity if you don't. Anyway, so there's a couple like line 522 and 523. Anybody familiar with these two projects? They are largely specifications, or I think the serverless devs is just like these are not entities to be managed. This is not managed infrastructure. So if we scroll all the way to the right-hand side for 522 and 523, they will likely be not being published. They're not published as an integration that Meshery supports, and they don't have any component. I forget exactly why I interjected here. I think it was mostly to just explain the purpose of this, and I encourage all of you to spend some time in it, to comment on it. Understand that the way that the models and the components, the infrastructure that Meshery manages, it's all characterized in here. Now, Uzair and Abid and Shlok, and there's a number of contributors here that are creating new sort of top level concepts in Meshery. We hear people talk about models, components, and relationships. Those are difficult enough to wrap your brain around as it is. If you look inside of the Zoom chat, there's a link to an explanation of what those are, especially if you're a student. The link in Zoom chat to the discussion forum, it offers an analogy that is hopefully easy to understand. And I encourage you to, that one. If you've ever been to university, then hopefully this analogy sort of helps you grok models, components, and relationships. Eventually, connections and credentials. So what Uzair is presenting is that, well, for each component is capable of being managed in different ways. those components are capable of being managed in different ways, largely because those individual components are, well, have different characteristics. So if a component is an Nginx container, okay, it can do certain things. Host the website via reverse proxy, do load balancing, do certain things. What it cannot do is run unikernels. Okay, so it doesn't have that capability. Or what it cannot do is build the container image for you. Like, that's not a capability of Nginx. So in order to help us define, as a project, define capabilities and reuse them, because guess what? If you're familiar with Nginx at all, and you understand that it's able to do reverse proxy or load balancing or website hosting that I just mentioned, it's not the only project that does that. There's Envoy proxy, Contour, there's HA proxy. There's a lot of other projects out there that have similar capabilities. In order to help be dry, not repeat ourselves, and define these capabilities, what this collection of contributors has done is pulled out, they're making new top-level considerations, and one of them is called capabilities. So you define a capability like reverse proxying. The styling that we were talking about earlier, whether or not a component has a solid stroke around it, or a dashed, or a dotted, or very, very thick, or super thin, well, those are all individual styles that can be defined and then reused. Because if we, as a community, if we tell people, hey, if you see a dashed line between two components, well, that means whatever that means. Well, if we've been explicit about defining styles, and that's its own logical, construct inside of that whole models thing that we're looking at, well, then consistency goes up. And yeah, anyway, I got talking about Meshery and we're over time. And so I just wanted to encourage you all, A, to think about what Ankita was encouraging you to do, help think through what this stuff means visually. On the code side of things, there's a collection of contributors who are working to ensure that all of those styles and all of those capabilities are typified, that they're explicitly defined, they're defined in a consistent manner. Yeah, I agree with the original question 29 minutes ago. Another sheet inside of the same spreadsheet for these other nouns, that probably makes a lot of sense. Another sheet called capabilities and another sheet called styles. Probably, because they're intended to be reused. That's the biggest reason. But, depending, like if it gets awkward inside of a spreadsheet to try to do that, then maybe that doesn't work very well. So something that might work, yeah. Anyway, in the spreadsheet itself, there are drop-down fields. If you want to categorize a model, if you go back to it for a minute, who's there, whoever's sharing, back. If you go back to it or pull it up, all of you are encouraged to help with this, by the way. It takes humans to do this, brains, and you learn in the process. So line 550, stash is the name of some project out there. I don't know what it is. At some point, if you back up your Kubernetes cluster, your Kubernetes ash, cool, or Kubernetes apps, cool, stash, git stash, that sort of makes sense, back up, okay. Anyway, well, that might, if we go to the category, column D and column E, at some point, one of you is going to suggest that, oh, hey, that probably belongs under the app. You click it, the app definition and development. The second one from the top. If you click that, I'm going to grab your mouse and kill it. If you click that one again, yeah, app definition and development, great. So anyway, all of you can come through and help try to identify how these belong. What I'm trying to say is, if it gets awkward to have a separate sheet for capabilities and styles, then the other way of creating a contributor experience within here, a developer experience in the sheet, is to do something like these drop downs. Because Meshery right now, we only say that there are X number of categories. It's not like a free form tag field. You can just type in whatever. It's like, no, they're predefined categories that you fit these into. And if in the same way there are predefined styles and predefined capabilities that they fit into, that would be an alternative, potentially. All right, Vivek, you were going to get us back on track.
So, okay. Yeah, so thank you everyone for joining. We are already 7 minutes over the time. And so before we wrap the call up, I just wanted to share this community calendars link. So if you are new to the community and you want to know about the various things that is going on, make sure you join tomorrow's newcomers meeting. That happens weekly on Thursday. So once again, if you want to know about the timing and the meeting minutes, you can subscribe to the community calendar. The link is in chat. So once again, thank you everyone for joining the call and participating. We'll see you next Wednesday. Till then, bye.
Yes, thanks, Vivek. Bye, Jarens.